Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Tara here, and long time no see. So I believe I posted my first video on here a really long time ago, and I'm really sorry I haven't made videos since then. But I was super busy and now I'm not that busy anymore, so I am planning on doing YouTube full time right now. And basically this channel is just to help you guys. I really want to help and inspire people when it comes to studying and motivation. So on this channel I'm basically going to be sharing my study tips, motivation for studying, my story to medical school, all of that. But for today's sort of first video, well, kind of second video, but first video for the new start of this channel, today's first video is going to be how to get an A star in A-level biology. Okay, so I'm pretty much just going to jump straight into the video. So I have all the notes on my computer here, and I've also made a blog post on all of this. My blog isn't live yet, but when the blog post and everything is live, I will tell you, and I'll put it on the screen here when everything is up and running. So if you guys prefer to read, you can read how to get an A star in A-level biology, and if you prefer videos, here you are. I personally prefer listening to videos on study advice, so yeah, I'm just going to get into it. Okay, my first tip is to understand. This is so important. Okay, so when I was first starting out with biology, and I remember when I did the chapter on the kidneys, the kidneys. For some reason, the kidneys were really hard for me. I couldn't quite understand what was going on. Oh, and bear in mind, I don't think I've mentioned this yet, I actually homeschooled myself A-level biology, so I had no teacher, no one helping me. Okay, anyway, so first of all, let's understand the concept before trying to memorize it. So I made the mistake in the beginning of just reading through my textbook and trying to memorize it. So then, in the textbook, after each chapter, there are like end of chapter questions, and I would try the questions, and I couldn't answer them because I didn't understand what was going on, even though I'd memorized it. And you see, for my GCSE technique of revision, I sort of just memorized stuff, and that actually worked. But for A-level, you really need to understand it. And then once you actually understand what you're learning, then you can start to memorize it off by heart. And what really helps is that when you get a question and you actually understand the topic, you can really think in your mind, okay, so this is the loop of Henle. You can picture the filtrate moving down. You can actually picture and understand what's going on, and then you can answer the question by pulling information out of your mind because you understand it. So understanding basically aids memorization, so it is so important. And if you don't understand a particular topic, definitely ask your teacher for help. And if your teacher has no extra time for some reason to help you, there's always YouTube and Google. We are the age of the internet. Use your resources. I'm going to make a separate YouTube video on my best resources for A-level biology because I did watch different YouTube videos and I found different websites along the way which helped me understand certain topics. I remember there was one topic on muscle contraction which I just couldn't get my head around, and I found this one video which really helped me just see the whole big picture. So yeah, don't be afraid to ask for help. Definitely Google it, YouTube, whatever. Okay, so guys, first thing I just want to quickly mention is hard work is the most important thing ever. You don't have to be a genius, you don't have to have a brilliant IQ to do well in A-levels. I remember being worried about A-level biology and chemistry thinking, am I smart enough? But honestly, it's just hard work. You don't have to be smart or anything. You just need to really work your ass off. Secondly, read over your notes periodically. This is so important, and I didn't do this in the beginning. So I used to make my notes and feel good about summarizing the chapter and yeah, and then I just wouldn't look at my notes for months, which is so stupid. And I remember, actually I can't really remember quite when, but it was near the exam time. I started panicking because I realized I couldn't remember like the beginning chapters off by heart, like it was just out of my head. Okay, so if you're like me and you haven't been reading over your notes periodically, don't panic, because I panicked. Just start reading over them slowly now. Just start reading. And if you're also like me and you didn't make notes initially, which is really stupid, just read through your textbook and periodically read over, because repetition is so key. Just repetition, and the facts will eventually sink in and stay in your long-term memory. That's why repetition is so important. So just every so often read over your notes passively. Like also you can read, what I did was I would sit in bed and read through some of my notes just before I went to sleep, so it would just like kind of sink in and I'd dream about biology. Anyway, so please do read over your notes. It is so important just to keep all the material fresh in your mind. So I remember I would be on the chapter of respiration and I'd forgotten all about immunity. So yeah, don't be like me. you should definitely make notes consistently and consistently read through them. So in a sense, you can just relaxingly read through your notes every so often after class. Just pick a random chapter. That's what I would do. Around exam time, I would actually just kind of go, I would kind of just go through my textbook. I think I would close my eyes and just like pinpoint a random chapter in the index, and then I would read through that and just refresh that. And if you don't really like reading, you can always watch a YouTube video on the topic, just anything to refresh your memory. Okay, tip number 3, summarize and summarize. Okay, this is so important for biology just because there is like so many facts in biology. It is so annoying. It's like a mountain, massive thing, volcano of facts, and it's a nightmare to learn all the details. So that's why it's really important to summarize. So what I did was I would first master the main concepts and make sure I really understood that. And then I would learn all the details off by heart. So all the little facts I'd learn off by heart in my notes. Then I had like pretty detailed notes with the big picture plus all the details. And once I knew the details off by heart, I would then make new notes and just leave out those details, so that when I read through my new notes that were even more summarized, in my mind then I'd have to sort of fill in the blanks. So I'm trying to think of an example. Like with the heart, say, with the cardiac cycle. Maybe in my super summarized notes I wouldn't mention like the valves in the heart. I would just mention how the blood goes through a circuit through the body. So in my mind I would have to think, okay, the blood goes through this valve, the atrioventricular valves, and blah blah blah. So you get the picture. So just summarize and summarize your notes, because it's really hard to reread notes that are super long. I found you can do it. It's actually fine to do it that way. I did that for some topics, but the more you summarize, the better in a sense. Yeah. And I also want to mention the act itself of making notes and summarizing your notes really helps the material just go into your head. It like consolidates the information in your head, especially when like you're writing out your notes. With me, if I found I'm busy writing something out, I'm like, I don't understand this, and it would make me and force me to go over it and like watch a YouTube video on it and like really understand it. And I found that what happened was, in the end, my weakest points ended up being my strongest points because I would work really hard at what I was bad at. So yeah, the visceral act of writing out notes actually has been somehow proven, I think, to help it go into your head better, if that made any sense. So it's a more like active way of learning compared to reading, which is just sort of passive. So yeah, making notes is really important. Definitely make notes in class and then like re-summarize them or whatever. Okay, my next tip for biology is to make diagrams, and I just found this really helpful for me. I don't know if that's probably because I'm more of like a visual learner, but even if you're not a visual learner, I think it's really helpful, because when exam time and test time or whatever comes around, I found it really helpful in that when I read the question and I was trying to remember information, I could actually in my mind picture a diagram I'd drawn out, and that would then help me to remember the information and then answer the question. So what I recommend is, don't just look at your diagram in your textbook, don't just print a diagram, actually draw the diagram yourself. I found this so helpful. So what I would do is I literally just copied the diagrams in my textbook and drew them out myself. And sometimes I found like when I was drawing out the heart, I would be like, oh, I didn't notice that little bit in the diagram. Like, they're little details I would sometimes miss just because my eyes glanced over the diagram, and I was like, oh, that's there, and like, oh, I didn't notice that little like label attached. And I realized I learned more from doing the diagrams, and I was able, when I had to do questions at like the end of chapter questions, I was better able to recall information because I could picture the diagram I'd drawn, and then I could picture what was going on in my mind, and then I could remember the information. It was just so helpful. Oh, and guys, I'm thinking I might do a video next showing you my biology notes, because I found when I was looking for resources on like how to get an A in A-level biology, no one seems to want to share how they got their marks. So I just figured I would show you guys what my notes look like, just so you can get an idea. They are no way near perfect. My notes are messy, and yeah, I just thought maybe it could help someone. So I might do that next, and comment down below if you would like to see my revision notes that got me an A-star. Okay, next tip that I used is flashcards. So I only recently actually decided to try to use them because I just got so bored of writing out plain old notes on like an A4 sheet of paper. I just get bored and restless easily. And flashcards are also really nice if you're a kinesthetic learner. I don't know if I said that correctly. I'm going to put the word here, kinesthetic learner. And it's also helpful if you're a visual learner. So flashcards, I like to get the different colors. Okay, so I remember the topic of respiration. I did them on pink flashcards, and I can actually clearly remember that. And I remember the flashcards had this like grainy texture to them. They weren't smooth. So when in the exams I got a question on respiration, I could remember the pink grainy texture of the flashcards, and then I could actually remember all the facts about respiration. So yeah, if you're a kinesthetic and visual learner, flashcards are great for you. So I would basically just summarize and condense the information on flashcards. And also what was so nice about the flashcards is that they kind of forced me to condense the information, because it's only so much you can fit on a flashcard. And on each little flashcard I would like do a little diagram next to what I had written, or I'd do a diagram on the flip side. Yeah, I found flashcards fun, and like just holding them and moving them, I just found it helped me because I'm quite a restless person. I like to constantly move around when I'm studying, which is frustrating. Okay, next tip is to read over your notes before you go to sleep. So I also only recently found out this tip, and I seriously think it helped me. Like, I don't know if it has been proven, or I swear there was some study with this. So what I did was, just before going to sleep, like I'm often in bed, I watch Friends. So after I watched Friends, I would just quickly read through a topic, like in a relaxing way, like a calm way, just read through it. And what's so weird is I found the next morning I could just remember that topic really well somehow. So I don't know if there's any evidence to this, but to me somehow reading the notes just before going to sleep consolidated it in my brain as I was sleeping, and then I would wake up just knowing the facts more on that topic. I swear that worked. Like, I don't know. Okay, my next really important tip is to get enough sleep. So you've probably read this and heard this countless times before, like if you don't get enough sleep, it decreases your performance in school, blah blah blah. And I know that's really frustrating if you're someone like me who's a night owl, and the temptation to stay up till 3 a.m. is all too real. I really feel you, it is so hard. So just make sure you get at least 7 hours of sleep a night. I'm actually someone who needs at least 9 hours to 10 hours of sleep per night. That's just how I am. And okay, because I did homeschooling, I did go to bed at 4 a.m, which I know is really bad and crazy. And then I'd wake up at like 1 p.m. So I did get my 9 hours. But if you are in school, you should probably go to bed earlier so you can get up in time in the morning. Just please make sure you're getting enough sleep, because sleep has been shown to kind of not repair the brain. Like, okay, I don't know all these things yet, this is what I've read, but it helps the brain while you're sleeping. Your brain makes new connections and strengthens connections. So say you're learning about homeostasis or whatever, and your brain is busy making those connections as you sleep and consolidating that information so it's stored in your long-term memory. Please sleep, it's so important. And definitely a night before the exam, sleep. Please sleep, it's so important. Like, I know it's so hard if you're like me and you like to cram. Like, I'm someone who for some reason needs that pressure of cramming. I feel like if I'm not cramming, I'm not doing enough. So I know it's really hard, but at some point you need to turn the light off and just go to sleep, because you'll do better the next day if you sleep. Okay guys, that's it for my how to get an A in A-level biology video. Comment down below if this video helped you. I really hope it did help you. I just really want to help others, because when I was studying for A-level biology, I found it so hard to find people online who would share their study tips and whatnot. There is a fly in my room annoying me. Okay, it's really annoying. And comment down below some of your favorite study tips. Maybe we can all help each other out. I think it's so important just that we all help each other out in this YouTube community and just make it like a wonderful space to learn and enjoy learning and inspire others. Okay, so yeah, there'll probably be a part 2 to this video coming soon, because I'll probably think of more tips later on, but I can't think of them right now. And once that part 2 video up is live, I will put it here. I'll probably like link it down below or something once it's live, once it's up. And I really hope this video helped you guys, and let me know if it did. If it didn't, let me know. Just tell me in the comments if I didn't explain well enough, or comment down below if this did help you. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Okay, bye! And understanding basically aids... What was I saying? I can't talk, Elle. I can't think.